but the first button.
Yeah, operate that dashboard.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, all
Yeah?
right, we're live.
Okay, we're in business.
We made it. All right, hello everyone. Oh, hello, welcome back to the Game-Based Learning Review. I'm Brandon. Over there on the other side of the wall of faces is Dan Norton. And we are joined today by special guests Luke, senior game designer at Filament Games, and Abhishek, staff UX researcher, trust and safety at Google. Welcome to the show, fellas. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, our guests are here today because they are two of the great minds behind Be Scam Ready, which is a free browser based game from Google that helps players practice identifying and avoiding common online fraud tactics. Filament Games is proud to have served as the development partner on this project, with Luke acting on our side as the lead game designer and Abhishek directing the project and providing subject matter expertise from the Google side. Today we're going to play through the game and excuse me, and discuss the urgent need for scam literacy in our increasingly online world.
Yeah.
So to start things off, we're going to talk to Abhishek about his background and his job at Google, and kind of how he got into this area of expertise. So Abhishek, many of our viewers are interested in career paths in education and technology in particular. And I'd love to start with your background today. So what sort of path did you take in your career to arrive at your current focus on trust and safety?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me. For like a more formal introduction, I'm Abhishek. I'm a staff UX researcher at Google in this wing called Trust and Safety. So for background, what Trust and Safety is charged with doing is keeping users safe online. So on all of Google platforms, that's kind of our goal, to keep users safe, keep the ecosystem safe. In terms of background, I started off in engineering. So I went to school to study engineering. I dabbled in atmospheric physics. And then I was hired straight out of university in the trust and safety wing of Google. Initially in the search team. So I was an analyst. I was working on keeping the search index clean. So a lot of like keeping hacked websites, like kind of reminding people to take care of their safety for the websites, and kind of notifying people that their websites are hacked, and kind of
Mm,
keeping the Google index clean, making sure it's spam free. And then eventually I got interested in news, because straight around 2015, 2016, that was kind of very interesting, some of the news related trends that were happening. And so that's
it was a
where
very
I
interesting time.
exactly. So 2015, 2016, especially around foreign interference, around elections, etc. That's where my focus shifted. And eventually I got more interested in the human side of the puzzle, which is where do users fit into this whole puzzle? Because I was doing all of these very technical things, but to me, what was more interesting was the user stories and the user journeys, etc. And so I eventually moved to the research team, which does UX research or user research, where we study how humans interact with technology. And it's not purely a coding or like technological endeavor. It's like a human technology interaction kind of paradigm that we study.
That's fascinating. So, what does that involve kind of on a day-to-day basis as you're doing that research, and particularly looking at some of like the emerging technologies and how humans interact with those? I'm sure, especially with Gemini and things like that being released at Google, that's a big part of your focus.
Yeah, so in terms of my day-to-day job, I lead research related to online deception and manipulation.
Mm,
And obviously, with a proliferation of some of these newer technologies, there is more of that going around essentially on the internet.
yep,
And it's easier to make that happen now, because
right.
language models and some of these technologies are fluent in terms of mimicking, they're mimicry machines, right? So they're
Yes.
fluent at mimicking humans in text, in video, in audio. And so there's obviously a large gamut of stuff that we cover. Obviously, scams and fraud is a huge focus for us, because we have been kind of a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of like the amount of work that we have done in this. I think we are best in class. But then also outside of frauds and scams, there is a whole new world of different ways of doing online deception and manipulation, either related to policy conversations, medical conversations, financial conversations, and obviously scams is part of the financial conversation.
Mhm.
So I work on all of those issues,
Wow.
and yeah, I mean there's more of this going around now, which means we have to do more with uh, the amount of capacity that we have.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you feel like the urgency has picked up and like the pace has kind of picked up in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's been probably more intense than any time I can remember
Wow.
at technology, working at a tech company like Google. It's always been like, okay, very high scale problems, everything is urgent. But I think the pace of evolution of technology has really been extremely high. And sometimes the exponential curve kind of catches you by surprise.
Mm,
And I think some of that has happened with obviously on the user side, but even internally it feels like okay, technology is really moving fast.
Mhm.
well, that's a great segue to my next question, which is for students who are looking to get into a major technology like Google and tackle high stakes and very large problems. What's your advice?
I honestly feel like a lot of advice I used to give like 2 years ago no longer is relevant.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has shifted. It used to be, oh, you should focus on learning how to do these coding exercises or whatever. I don't know how much of that is still relevant, but I think um, the more fundamental aspects of technology, however, are more relevant today than it has ever been before,
Mm,
because even though you can wipe code a lot of stuff, to make it really production grade and really
Yes.
highly polished and think of all the edge cases and everything, it still requires some amount of system thinking, some level of architecture understanding. And so those kind of things don't go out of vogue purely because the technology makes things easier to produce. I
right.
will say, as long as you're able to think about okay, at a systems level, when you make this output, this is the make this input, this is the output you get, what's happening in the middle. And if you, as long as you're curious about how the mechanism of some of these technologies work, and you're able to think about second order, third order consequences, I think you are still going to be
Yeah.
fine. But obviously keep abreast of technology because it's really moving fast.
Yeah.
That's very good advice. And I think speaking of keeping abreast of technology, let's turn to the game.
Yeah.
We're going to play through Be Scam Ready now. And so Dan's going to pull that up and get that shared up on the screen, and
There we
we'll
go.
actually show off how the game works. So while Dan's doing that, this question is for Abhishek or Luke. What was the impetus for Google? I guess it's more of an Abhishek question. What's the impetus for Google behind developing Be Scam Ready? Is this part of I know we were speaking to, you have this entire division and devoted to user safety, but I was wondering if this is part of a specific initiative or campaign, perhaps.
Yeah, so this was not a part of a campaign per se. This was a larger problem that we saw in the ecosystem. So kind of if you take a step back, if you think about what do we need for a scam to happen, right? So you need a likely offender, you need absence of a capable guardian, and you need a unsuspecting kind of victim or a target, right, or a suitable target.
Mm,
So the absence of a capable guardian is essentially the day-to-day job of trust and safety, right? So it's providing capable guardianship of our platforms and trying to do enforcement to keep ourselves safe. A lot of our work in like threat actor detection also happens in those two spheres. But the other problem that we faced was that we also need to work on target hardening. So we need to make sure that users also feel empowered and enabled to be able to keep themselves safe. And we did a bunch of research. One of the biggest theme that we found was an action awareness gap. So more and more people were aware that scams are a problem, but less and less of them were able to actually keep themselves safe. There's a
Mm.
body of literature on this. I encourage people to go and look into this. But that was essentially the problem that we were trying to solve, which is obviously there's other stuff like global signal exchange, where all the platforms contribute their signals to a single clearinghouse, and signals from Meta is being used by Google, signals from Google being used in like I don't know, like some other Mastercard or some other company. So all of that is on the ecosystem safety side. But
Mhm.
then how do we keep societies safe, or how do we keep users safe? So we needed to do some more target hardening exercises. So we did a whole landscape research, and we settled that okay, inoculation theory would be really really promising here. So we did some basic bootstrapped prototypes before Filament got involved. We tested those. We saw really promising results, and that's when we asked Dan and Luke for their help to kind of make this into a more formal exercise.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's see. Dan, you want to just go ahead and get started? Let's start a playthrough here.
Sure. I should have started the whole stream with just this interface. I think this is a very funny way to have things look. But all right, sorry. Here's game back. So going in. I also turned the gripping dramatic music down pretty far, so I can turn it back up if people think it's too
Let me
quiet.
see if I can hear it. Yeah, you could probably bring it up a little bit.
A little bit. Okay. Look at these amazing audio tools. That's so nice. There we go. All right, let's do a warm-up challenge. Here are a series of situations that you might encounter online. Can you identify which ones are scams? All right, after applying for a position on a professional networking site, you receive an email. In my mind, I'm like, okay, that means it's a scam. Anything that arrives to you as text is obviously a scam.
Same.
Yeah. Subject: following up, remote data analyst position. Hi, your name. Thank you for your application. We are impressed with your profile and would like to invite you to the next stage of our process. The next step is a formal interview with the hiring manager. I'll send a separate calendar invitation shortly. I don't think this is a scam. I don't see any hooks currently that it's not asking me for any information.
And we did apply. It says that.
Yeah, it knew my name, which obviously is not rules it out, but is at least a point in its favor of being authentic. So the fact that it's not saying like all we need now is your credit card, is pretty good. So I'd say currently not a scam. Oh. I mean, to be fair, in real life, I would act on this with 100% confidence. I would say that I would treat this as if this were factual. Like, I'm open to the idea that more information would reveal this to be a scam later, but currently I would not change my behavior assuming this is a scam. So I'm going to call it very confident. Yeah. Like, I have that urge inside me to be like, well, I can't say 100% to anything, but it's like, well, there needs to be a functional 100%, not a philosophically pure 100%. Okay, you message about let's see. Great, we'd love to have you. The job is simple. You process a series of data orders to help our clients boost their app's visibility. To start, everyone completes one trial task just to see how easy it is. Are you ready to do the trial task? You reply yes. The recruiter then explains that to activate your work account for the trial, you must first pay a small refundable deposit of $50.
Wait a minute. Wait just a darn minute.
What's funny about this as an example is that even if it's not even if this person is this person could be authentically representing themselves and they actually are a recruiter that wants $50 to do this, and I would still say that's a scam. I don't need it to be someone pretending to be a recruiter. I'd be like, yeah, very confident this is a scam. I would definitely, this would get nuked out of my inbox from Orbit.
Yeah. They revealed their flim-flam hand.
Yeah. You receive a frightening text message from an unknown number. Urgent. A suspicious payment. All right, I'm already done. 942.50 was just attempted for your account. Your funds are at risk. To secure your account and prevent further devastating losses, you must verify your identity immediately. Please click here now. Yes, this is a scam. I'm super. I regret choosing 5s because I really could use a 6 at this point.
What was that, Luke?
I said I feel like this is a type that I get often. Is just the like.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot that are like, "Oh, your Robinhood account has been compromised. Call us now, and we'll fix everything." And I'm like, none of that's true.
Briefly, I'd like to talk about a scam I did fall for once. I thought it was interesting. I went to a parking ramp on my way to a conference where I was going to present. I was like short for time, and I needed to download an app to pay parking, which I'm trying to do in the middle of a parking lot with not great signal. So I just searched up the name of the parking thing off of the sign, and I downloaded the top app that had that name.
Oh no.
And then I like signed in to pay parking, and then within 3 minutes I found out that I had purchased a subscription to an amazing media library that was, and I was like, oh no. So that was interesting. I was not expecting, someone had thought about my entire use case of the distracted person in a parking ramp just searching for the name, right? Like they got me, right?
Yeah.
They identified an amazing moment of weakness in like a
you stepped into like 3 different snares at once, and they all closed.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was something. Okay, so next one. Your bank. We detected unusual activity on your account. Please log in securely through the official Your Bank app or by typing our website address into your browser to review your transactions. We will never send a login link. This is good. I think this is not a scam. Because again, it's not attempting to solicit through a link itself to tell me to go in. And it's urging me to use secured ways to get into my actual information. So I'm going not a scam. I will give this be slightly ambiguous because I don't like. I guess the fact that even if this is true, I'm somehow scam adjacent is like enough for me to be like I should be extra careful. So I'm gonna say 4 for this one. Like who knows? Maybe this is just a setting up for me to establish, trusting this email address or something in the future. But and also like if it is not a scam, that means like somewhere else I have gotten in trouble. So I don't know. So I'm gonna give that a 4. You guys ever been scammed?
I receive several phone calls on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, which attempt to scam me, and yeah, they are personally very interesting. And I mean, some of them I have also kind of just talked to purely out of curiosity, like what are they trying to do here? I'll frame this as research, but I wouldn't advise others to do that because there is a scope where they can actually record your voice and and kind of fake that. So with newer technologies, I'll basically suggest you just ignore and
just do not engage.
Do not engage.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. You think you're doing some anti-scamming and just messing with them, and they're just sitting there making a model of your voice, like keep talking.
Yeah, they gotta run some voice filters, like Kit Boga or other people on Google or on YouTube. Yeah. So, all right, let's look at the story of several characters to learn more about how they encountered scammers.
Yeah.
Lin May.
Yeah, I think for me, the scams I fall for are usually more like dark UX, like when I sign up for a subscription and realize that they had a defaulted to annual or something like that.
Sure, yeah, those.
And I'm like, oh no, $200. I meant to spend 10.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, what story should we do?
Who should we be? Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, is the screen frozen?
Um,
I think it seems like it's still moving on my end.
Oh,
I think
okay.
just I am frozen.
I see it now. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
now we're
okay.
good.
Maybe we had a stutter. Yeah.
It did look frozen for me for a moment too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that probably one of the middle two might be good.
Yeah.
For the first one's going to be a little bit easier, so I'm just going to like jump
Sure.
you to
Yeah.
potentially more ambiguous ones.
Yeah.
I
Let's
just
get
wanna-
Martin into some trouble.
Yeah. A shout out to Lin May. Looking great for 72, by the way. Holy cow. Man,
That's true.
I hope.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Lin May moisturizes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, maybe Sofia is good.
Yeah.
Or,
Okay. I am Sofia Lima, a digital merchant, 38 in Brazil. All right, chapter 1.
Here we go. We are Sofia Lima.
Uh-huh. You take a deep swig of your, I don't know, Cafe Jinho? Jinho? I'm not sure. I hope. I apologize.
Yeah, so we added a lot of these personalization or localization touches
Yeah.
for locales. And when we were script writing, and maybe Luke can speak more to it, but we we paid a lot of attention to it should feel like you are this person in this particular locale. So you also get like around the world in 4 stories kind of a vibe here.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you take a deep swig of your Cafe Gino, the rich aroma mixing with the earthy scent of clay in your workshop. Amanda Weem, your ginger cat, stretches languidly in a patch of morning sun. Your big dream, an electric kiln so you could make beads and jewelry at home, still feels a way off at, that Real? Is that the
I think so. I think
Real?
so, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And,
Yes, that's true.
yeah, 10,000 Real. Can someone give me a conversion rate real quick for dollars? I'm just kind of curious what kind of dollars I'm trying to lay out.
Looks
It's-
like 1900
Yeah.
USD.
Okay. All right. You're sure it could save you some time and take your small business to the next level, but one step at a time. For today, you're aiming to take the 2,000 you've saved up and boost it by at least 150. All right, Amandoim, you say, scratching him behind the ears. Let's sell some masterpieces, or at least enough to cover your fancy tuna. You open your laptop, ready for the day. I wouldn't mind having an electric kiln. That would be great.
Yeah, you could put it with all of your other small form manufacturing stuff.
I know, right? When I ultimately retire, I'll have some type of strange factory, essentially. All my hobbies congealed into one. The digital storefronts and social media feeds blink to life. Time to see what the online world has in store. What's your first move? Okay, so I can check Instagram for any DMs, check if Artesanato Brazil has any new orders, or get some glazing done while it's quiet. Well, I gotta be all about that grind mindset, so I shouldn't do the glazing. I think this feels like the most businessy choice, so I'm doing that. You log into your Artesanato Brazil seller dashboard. No new sales yet. Drat. But a couple of 5-star reviews. That always puts a spring in your step. Just as you're about to log out, a new message notification pings. Boop. Arte da Praia Floripa at 8:06 a.m. Oi, Sofia. Your work is beautiful. I loved your mug with the painted wave. Would it be possible to make one in a different color palette and with my name Marcella discreetly on the base? It would be a treat for myself. Yeah. Hola, Marcella. Thanks, you reply. Glad you like it. Yes, we can customize. Do you have colors in mind? You and Marcella exchange a few messages. She's clearly got a vision for a special mug and seems genuinely thrilled you're willing to make it. You decide to price it at 250 Real to cover the extra work. That's tuna and then some, man.
That's the
Yeah.
fanciest tune in
Yeah.
the store.
Marcella or Marcella, I'm not sure. I'm going to keep going with Marcella. For the custom personalized mug, it's 100 up front for the design work, and then once we agree on a design, it's another 150 plus shipping. I'll send over some color palettes and engraving options this afternoon. Production time will be 10 days. Sound good? Sound good? Perfect, Sophia. Entendido about the time and price. How do I pay? You direct her to your official marketplace link for secure payment, and the first payment of 100 real comes through almost immediately. Well, all right. You agree on a color palette and the engraving for Marcella with everything determined. Marcella sends you the next payment. Very shortly thereafter, Marcella messages again. Oh my gosh, Sophia, I was typing so fast I accidentally sent too much. How embarrassing. Would you be able to refund the extra back to me? You look at the payment and see that it's indeed overpaid at 155 plus shipping instead of 150. Of course, I'll look into it, you reply. Thank you. I'm sorry I was so clumsy. I don't mean to trouble you. Is this a trick? Ba-ba-ba. I mean, for me, it is definitely a lot of work to get 5 and a free mug. But it is a classic trick to ask you to reimburse past the thing and then have the money due. So I'm going to go with yes, because I would like, if it were me, I would say this is suspicious. So you feel like this could be a trick, but you're not sure which one. You decide to do a little bit more diligence. Yes. Check if the payment actually verified. You check your bank to balance, see if the 2 payments actually cleared. They both have.
We have Gigi in the chat who says she's been scammed many times by this scheme.
Yeah.
She's actually a store owner herself with her own manufacturing apparatus. So this basically is a different version of her that we're playing as right now.
You look up how marketplace payments work, and it seems like as long as you stay on this platform, you should have some protections. Oh, yes. Marcella checks in on you. Sorry again for the bother, Sophia. Is the refund possible? Yes.
We're sorry, Gigi. We should have done a content warning for anyone who's been bamboozled before.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what are we gonna do? The refund has been issued.
Oh yeah, you sent back. Sorry, I was just reading. You sent back the refund. It's easy to do, and you encounter no surprises. You're excited to keep working on the custom order. Yeah, it'll be a nice change of pace to create something unique. Yes, minus the expenses. That's 180 closer to today's target. You tell Amadouin. He blinks, unimpressed. And then I didn't get to the last sentence because I had to read it twice because I forgot to read out loud. End of chapter. This was a legitimate customer interaction. Not every unusual request online is a trap. Verifying facts and building respectful relationships can help you discern when trust is and isn't warranted.
Yeah, so this one, we are, as I mentioned, jumping into the second story. So here we did do a scenario that is certainly a very similar scenario could happen with scams. But there are some tricks that you're learning about over the course of the game that aren't employed here, and some verification that you can do to say, okay, this is actually a legitimate instance where the person overpaid on accident, as opposed to a situation where they are pretending to overpay.
Uh-oh, guys, sorry. I gotta choose. I don't know what I agreed to. Sorry.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's the
time pressure. Yeah, this is
time
a
pressure.
big component of the game. It's the time pressure, so it's a little challenging.
Yeah.
Go ahead, and I'll try not to distract.
Yeah.
No. I actually are we gonna get a pause here in a moment?
Yeah.
We will sometimes. It'll probably be when not in the middle of
Here, before you hit continue, Dan, or wait, I'm already on a delay here. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can pause here. I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, I was just curious about how you guys tuned that, like how you kind of arrived at the sweet spot for urgency and the time pressure. Because I could see how, some people could get totally discouraged and kind of, shut down from that.
Yeah.
But I could also see how it could be too generous and essentially making it so there's not much pressure at all. So, like, what was the testing process like for that?
As far as where to apply the timer, a lot of it was
Yeah, where and how, I guess.
yeah, right. Like the where of the timer, I guess, is like if it's a situation where you would feel social anxiety about not getting back to someone. This was something
Okay.
we had to model maybe beyond where like it's maybe a little quicker than you would necessarily feel it, but one of our early scams is on the phone, so in that situation you definitely feel the like they're waiting for me to answer in like real time.
Sure.
In this case, since most of this person's business is through text,
Mhm.
like realistically with a text you might not feel it quite this fast in real life. You just kind of are aware that generally you're trying to have a conversation with somebody in text. And we didn't necessarily make it slower because it was text. We kind of left it there, but yeah, whenever it's like decisions like at the beginning when it's like how do you want to spend your day, right, that's entirely untimed because it's nothing at stake in that
Right.
decision.
Sure.
And then yeah, when one of the things that we had to be aware of is since it's a game, and you know that the situation you're encountering doesn't actually put your real life at risk, there's a little more of a challenge for us to simulate the emotional stress state that you would be in an actual scam situation.
Got
So
it.
I actually personally didn't mind pushing the user a little bit beyond what they might feel is fair from a typical game because
Sure.
of the fact that I'm trying to stress you out on purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, as
How
far as
often have you said
testing-
that in a game that we've made before, Luke?
Yeah.
yeah, it was a little bit atypical. Like I think that was kind of one of the interesting different things about this project is like
Yeah.
I'm not usually trying to stress you out on purpose in a game, but here I am trying to stress you out on purpose. And so yeah, with observed testing, I tried to get like a read on like, you know, how that was feeling, and also just some asynchronous like survey responses on how that was feeling. But yeah, I erred on the side of a little too much pressure. And then if you don't like it, which in this case, Dan, actually you may want to do this, if you go to that gear icon, you can actually like lower or remove the time pressure, because we also didn't want it to be an accessibility barrier
Of
Yes.
course.
to
That's
getting
awesome.
value out of the game.
That's awesome.
Sure.
So in our case, because we're interrupting Dan or whatever, you know, there may turn out to be some value in the slower timer.
Yeah, I turned it off, but
oh.
I love the rationale and theory around the timer. I actually do recommend people play it with timer. I think the idea that someone coming out of this with just like a natural inclination be like, man, I wish I had more time to think in these pressured moments. That's like a nice
Yeah.
kind of subtext objective, like an
It's
impact
like a
objective.
mindset win.
Yeah, it's a mindset win.
I think the research inclination here was to simulate, like, it's like a flight simulator but for scams. And the
okay.
idea here is to build like muscle memories
Hmm.
instead of memorizing, oh, these are 6 manipulation techniques that I should memorize.
Yes.
Instead of that, you get this kind of, instead of a sixth sense, you get like this scam sense where you're like, oh, you know, like something fishy, like let me pause here. And obviously not in all circumstances you can't take pause in like real life when someone's on the other end of the line, but then to build that discipline to take a beat and think through what you're doing, that was one of the things we wanted to get across. Because otherwise it feels like, oh, scam only happens to people who are not paying attention, or are for whatever reason are stupid, or maybe don't know how to deal with technology. But it can happen to anyone,
Yeah.
as you can see, because under pressure you make choices that you can't fully back up.
Right. Yeah, and so in this scenario, since it's not quite a realistic play scenario where we're making you read everything out loud, Dan, and like also we're talking and stuff, yeah, you could go entirely off. If you go slow, I think it's like maybe double time. I forgot exactly what multiplier I applied to it.
All right. Going slow. Don't you say anything interesting though when I'm in the middle of a decision.
I'm just gonna start clapping.
Yeah. Okay. So a moment later, another message from Carlos Silva. Sofia, quick update. Artisanado Brazil just messaged me saying that Because this is a high value order and you're a newer seller, you need to complete a quick verification step on your end for payment to fully clear into your account. They said they've emailed you instructions. Can you check and do it fast? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Yeah, that ain't good.
Do it fast is triggering in any context.
Yes. Anyone saying do it fast. Look at this. Look at this terrible email address. Yeah, look. Yeah, urgently in all caps. Oh yeah, man.
Looks very
Everything's
legit.
yeah. Yeah. Let's see what it says. So, I can verify my account. Click the secure. Oh, yeah. Look at this link. Click the secure link to verify your seller details and release payment. Pay processing fee. Hold on. Sorry, it can't happen. I'll never get through it. Yeah. Or pay a processing fee. I just want to burn my phone and throw it in the lake. Message
It's
Clara.
compromised.
Yeah. Okay. I messaged Carlos Silva back. Carlos, I received an email from Artisanal Brittle Support asking me to either click a link to verify my account or pay a fee. Did they mention this specific email to you? Yes, that's exactly it. They said it's a new security thing. Please do one of them quickly. Our anniversary is in a few days. My wife will be heartbroken if this falls through. The fee's refundable,
man.
so it's no risk, right? Or the link is
There's a
probably
full court
faster.
press.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So the email gives you two ways. You also wonder if you should contact their support directly, but Carlos is urging you to act fast. Well, you do. Contact support directly. Something's not right here, I decided. Yes, I agree. Carlos is too pushy, and that email address looks dodgy. Yes. You ignore Carlos Silva's DMs of the suspicious email. Instead, you open a new browser window, carefully type in the official Artesanato Brazil website address yourself, log in, and contact their support chat. Hola, Soporte Artesanato Brazil. A buyer named Carlos Silva claims they need to pay a 50 real fee or click an email link from Soporte at Artesanato Brazil-confirmachao.com to release his payment. Is this correct? Chat says, Hola, Sofia. Absolutely not. That's a scam. We'll never ask you to pay a fee to receive a payment, nor will we ask you to verify account details via an unsolicited email link. Please do not click any links or send money. Can you provide us with Carlos Silva's profile details so we can investigate and ban him?
Ooh.
That's funny. Yeah. You provide the details to the real support team, you feel a huge sense of relief. Oofa, that was definitely a scam. Good thing I checked directly, you say out loud. I'm going to meows in agreement. Or possibly for more food. All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Full circle with the cat.
Yeah.
Cat's like, nice job not getting scammed.
Yeah. The scam used an eager buyer with
You did
urgent
not embarrass
needs.
me today.
Yeah. And a sad story to trigger strong feelings. When we feel emotional or rushed, we are more likely to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. That's
So
nice.
let's see. I want to ask a little bit about some of the stuff we just saw in that chapter, because I know you had mentioned, Abhishek, that this is based a little bit on inoculation theory. So can you tell me, like, kind of where the inoculation theory moments happened in kind of what we just saw?
Yeah. So inoculation theory, like a 30-second background on that is it essentially is a theory proposed back in 1960s on how do we shield people from persuasion attacks. And if you think about scams in the abstract, it's a form of persuasive attack, right? And the idea here is similar to how we have in the biomedical sense. You introduce a weak form of the virus into your body and you develop antibodies. Here you introduce the user or the consumer to a weak form of the threat, which in this case is scams, and you develop mental antibodies against the potential future attack. And so the idea here is when you experience the scam in an embodied sense, or in the first-hand basis, you are motivated to learn in a more present format. But then also it really encourages you to remember what you have learned over a longer period of time. So some of the experiments that we had done, we were able to observe that users who played this kind of a format of a game and learned about these manipulation techniques in this format, they were better at identifying scams compared to their counterparts in the randomized control trial who were, say, watching YouTube videos of safety tips for scams. And they were about 10% better. And not only that, they are also better like 3 weeks later. So that was like a aha moment for us. Okay, we can build something that is durable and effective. Um, but in here, what happened was every time you came across a choice, that essentially creates a sense of a panic whenever you face a choice under pressure, under time pressure. You face a little bit of panic, and that helps you learn better. And also, like as I said, it's like a flight simulator but for scams. And you learn this in like a sandbox environment, but when it happens to you in the real life, for real, you're still able to employ the same tools because you have built these muscle memories.
So is that part of the ways that we kind of chose the characters and the different like narrative scenarios, was kind of like thinking about the different ways that we could couch this in our targeted users' lived realities?
Oh yeah, that's an excellent question. So a lot of research went into that, and essentially what we did was we scoured the internet for 400 or so victim survivor stories, people who got scammed or almost got scammed across 7 to 8 countries. So we really cast like a wide net, and then we, with like a highlighter, we thematically analyzed everything that happened in those stories, and we carefully constructed back what the flowchart of that looks like. Two things we learned from that. Number one, there's a huge variety of scams out there. So there's like about 45 types of scams depending on how you count them.
Wow.
But the building blocks of scams are same across the board. So there are these 6 manipulation techniques that are used everywhere. So you can't teach everyone how to memorize the scam or tricks that can happen, but you can teach them how to identify these 6 or 7 manipulation techniques. And number two was we learned that there are certain personas which are frequently targeted or frequently victimized. But what we didn't want to do is deal in stereotypes. There is a stereotype, or young people have their brain fried being on social media all the day, and therefore they don't know how to deal with these choices. Or older
not
people,
us older people.
or like elderly people who are unable to make these choices because they are unfamiliar with technology. So instead of dealing in stereotypes, we wanted to deal in archetypes. And in archetypes, you have more rounded out characters. You can actually empathize and understand why someone who is otherwise tech savvy in a distracted environment can fall for a parking lot scam, right? Or someone who is otherwise kind of very, very fearful of new technology and therefore may not kind of click on some random links, would still fall under pressure if they are kind of threatened by an authority. So there are these kind of empathizing exercises, because otherwise a lot of people will come away overconfident that, oh, I can identify all the scams, so I am completely safe. We don't want that to happen as well. So there's a whole lot of research that went into designing that, and Luke and I and Luke, Rebecca, and I went through a lot of those conversations.
Wow, that is fascinating and really interesting to know that there's this sort of seed of real experiences that's built into the game at the ground level. So I want to kind of turn our attention to just some high level questions about the game now that we've kind of done a nice demonstration of how it plays. So, as you look back on creating the game, what do you think the most challenging thing was about designing this experience?
And Luke, feel free to jump in, because the challenges from my end and challenges from Luke's end may be slightly different.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a round robin on this one.
Exactly. I will say, I think some of the challenges we were trying to solve for. Number one is when you play a game like this, where you're encountering a bunch of scams, you can come away being extremely, extremely skeptical of all online interactions. We didn't want that to happen. So over skepticism is also not gonna be a really good muscle
Right.
memory because it's not sustainable. Eventually, you need to go out in the world and buy stuff online and do stuff. And so we wanted to balance that out. And so the way Luke and I were thinking about this, and the whole team, we decided that okay, we should throw in some not scam situations into the mix, and that will allow people to recalibrate in the middle of the game. So you're not overfitting the curve to always say, "Oh, this is scam, scam, scam." Instead, you can say, "Oh, this. Let me kind of really think this through." Um, and that kind of was, I think, the central challenge beyond just delivering the inoculation theory promise that we were trying to solve for. But I wonder if Luke has a different kind of take on this.
Hmm.
That all makes sense to me. I think that as we kind of just saw with like the first scam here, or the first non scam here, it was even reminiscent of a scam that
Yes.
does exist.
Yes.
And so I think trying to figure out what are the right ways to, how do I put it? It's like over time we obviously need you to like improve at your ability to like look for the 6 or 7 manipulation techniques that Abhishek was describing. This is kind of what we're seeing here. As you keep going in the game, the next time you encounter situations as any character that might be a poser play, that's now in your list of things you can identify. So we're not far enough into the game yet to see this, but like instead of just being able to say generically, I feel suspicious, I feel like a
Yes.
trick is happening, you can start to identify which one it is.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I think maybe the toughest part was just trying to figure out how to make that arc effective in the amount of play time, because I kind of want to do the version 2 of this game that has even more characters and even more of
Yeah.
this, just so there's like more time to spread that experience over.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, and I would say that was probably the toughest part for me, at least, was kind of compressing it, and still getting that kind of journey as a learner through all of the techniques.
Sure. Well, given that this is, I think, 4 characters, right, and there's 45 some scams, we need at least 10 more games, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because the part of it really unlocks in a cool way in this game as you start to see those tricks repeating. Then I think it becomes really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also like a very subtle thing about what Luke mentioned there, which is in research we were like thinking like a Bayesian person. Like you go in with an expectation, and Dan was doing this when he was playing the first chapter, where he was going in with the expectation that okay, I'm skeptical of this, but then
Yes.
I'm willing to change my mind based on new evidence, or I'm willing to investigate further to then make my assumptions or my decisions more concrete. And that also plays into the game. And the way Luke designed this all was also like, oh, this feels suspicious because I recognize this manipulation technique, but does not mean I'm 100% confident this is a scam. I'm willing to see more evidence and change my mind.
Mhm.
And a lot of that also comes into play as you play further.
That makes
very
sense.
cool.
I'm curious, Abhishek, with when you came to Filament with this proposal, you'd already done a really impressive amount of research and thought onto how this game would meet your goals. And I'm just kind of curious from you and Luke, I guess. What are anything that's sort of interesting you found or changed course on during design and dev of this, where through the play testing or any sort of steps where you're like, oh, well, you know what? I think we're actually going to pivot on this aspect of implementation.
We changed that scam indicator,
Hmm.
and I guess it's not. I'm trying now to recall. So at the top, you noticed that when you said yes, some kind of trick, there was an indicator at the top that said, "You think this seems suspicious."
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
originally, that was going to be a more kind of quantitative meter that was trying to represent what Abhishek was just talking about with the like, how many indications are there that make me feel like it's a scam versus how many indications make me feel like maybe it isn't a scam. And I think that we adjusted that just due to the reality of like there weren't going to be enough opportunities to like move the meter back and forth, that instead we
Sure.
just tried to update it as like that kind of softer statement of like, you think this seems suspicious, or like you feel like maybe it's just this other thing, right? So that was definitely something that we adjusted. I don't know, Abhishek, is there another?
Yeah, I think the other piece that I mean, when we came into when we originally discussed the proposal to build something like this, our initial prototype that we had done in 2024, actually you experience the game on a mobile interface. So you literally have
That's
like
right,
mobile screen
yes.
in front of you. Something happens, and then you click some buttons, like essentially on a messaging app or on an
Mhm.
email app, and so on and so forth. So you're experiencing the scam on a first-hand basis. And one of the geniuses behind one of the genius moves that Luke was able to pull out of his hat was, oh, we should do this in a kind of storytelling format, because there's no way we will be able to match the cultural diversity in what appears on a screen when we go from Brazil to Taiwan to
Oh,
Singapore
sure,
to
that's
UK
true.
and Ireland,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
And they use different characters, they use different apps, they're used to different types of information density, and that's very hard to do and like scale. And so one of the pivoting moments that we discussed, we kind of discovered in the design process was, oh, we should do this in a storytelling format where you're playing, it almost feels like a storybook, but
Mhm.
you get to be part of the story. So that's kind of one of the big pivotal moments from my point of view.
That's really interesting. That does seem like that's a challenge on lots of projects at Filament is, sometimes uh, either multinational or even accessibility issues of uh, when we're like, oh wow, if we were to customize this for every type of user based on origin,
Yeah,
or that starts becoming a less and less manageable list, and so universalizing is
it's a
sometimes the right
gigantic
way.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, then it's always a question of what do you gain and what do you lose for those decisions. So
Mm.
yeah, that's very interesting.
I think there's also something nice that, visually, in terms of like what the game emphasizes important visually, like here, seeing this trick unlocked,
Yeah,
um, that is like the core of the learning objective,
yeah.
and it's not like fighting with like here's a depiction of the interface of line and here's a depiction of the
Oh
interface of
sure, like
facing
here's
up.
WhatsApp is like now in between.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
in a
yeah.
way, I think that because part of the research insight here is the common techniques that are used across these kind of particularized stories, it's kind of a nice balance of like the thing that's kind of emphasized the
Mhm.
most are the shared elements, and then the more particular components of your story are part of your like narrative experience of the character.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that was kind of a
Really
nice
cool.
Mhm.
a nice
Also, like
benefit.
game is like a delivery mechanism here, but it doesn't overtake the learning objective,
Yes.
which I feel often is very easy to lose sight of what you're actually trying to achieve. The idea here is not to be addicted to this game.
Right.
The idea is to play this and you learn something and you are able to apply this in your day-to-day life,
Mhm.
um, keep yourself and your family safe. And so I think that also was another consideration that Luke and the team had.
Yeah.
It also should be easier to update in that if a certain story feels like, oh, now it would be better if that referenced this other app, then
Right. It's not a
instantly you
UX
update
overhaul, it's a
it, right?
narrative overhaul. Yes, which is much, much lower lightweight. Great point.
Yeah.
Awesome. What
Well,
cool.
that actually answers one of my other questions, which is, what's the most important thing that players can take away from this game? And it sounds like, great techniques and inoculation and understanding against all of these different tricks and persuasion tactics they might encounter to keep themselves and their families safe, as Abhishek said. So I know we're running a little bit low on time here with Abhishek. He's got to run. So I want to ask one final question before we wrap up for today, which is, after working on this game, do you feel better equipped to handle scams in your own life?
I mean, yes, I feel like I have been deep in the trenches in the scam land for the last 2 to 3 years, and um, I, I mean, you do still kind of take a step back, and you are like, okay, I shouldn't probably feel this confident. I still can get
Yes.
bamboozled. And I think that's probably one of the learning experiences over the last couple of years, because even though I have probably seen a super wide variety of scams
Yeah.
across 7 or 8 countries, I still learn new techniques that scammers are employing on a daily basis. Um, there's also this underlying thing which is underappreciated, which is that this has become an industry at this point,
Yes.
Yes.
where there are like scam as a service, fraud as a service, kind of professionalization of the whole sector, and the setup cost, the cost to scale, the cost to personalize, all of that is slowly kind of coming down. Um, and I think we like there will always be a kind of a catch and mouse game, cat and mouse game, where bad actors are employing AI, we are employing AI, they are
Mhm.
employing some techniques, we are employing some techniques, but at the end of the day, uh, no system is going to be perfect, and something will always creep through, and that's where kind of be scam ready comes in, where essentially we need to make sure that people play this, are able to learn these techniques and tools, and yeah, also like exploring new formats where we may be able to do this. So that's another kind of food for thought for us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think that's profound insight, especially about the professionalization of these practices, and I think also just knowing that someone like yourself who spends your time in the trenches of Scamland, you're still saying, "Hey, I'm still caught off guard sometimes." I think that's
Absolutely.
really important for
Yeah.
people to think about. Is like someone who focuses all of their time on this professionally is still seeing new things, because, like you say, it's a cat and mouse game, and there's always innovation. So I'm going to drop into the chat here, just for future reference, the link to the game. So if anyone watching now or in the future wants to try it out, check that out. It's bscamready.withgoogle.com, and you can go and play the game there. It's all free and browser based. Yeah, to wrap it up, thank you so much, Abhishek, for joining us today. This was really fun. Super cool to learn about all this stuff. It's fascinating and important work. So really appreciate you coming on.
I really appreciate you having me, and obviously a big thanks to you guys. We couldn't have done it without you.
Hey, likewise.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to make this game, and the impact that this game has already had, the amount of people who've gone in here, the amount of secondhand reports I've gotten from people and who've shared it and talked about it. It's just been a tremendous thing to be a part of. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Really cool.
It's been very fulfilling. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us today. That's all the time we have for today's stream. We'll wrap it up, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you. Bye-bye.